Managing your emotions. As an HR professional of over 10 years, I know this is not the first time that you're going to be hearing that word, managing your emotions. Now, the longer you are in human resources, the more you would have had to help other people navigate their own emotions. And hopefully, you should be able to turn some of those skills inward to support yourself to be able to manage your emotions. But all is well and good up until when there is something you really, really want, but has seemed to be elusive. For example, getting into a much more senior HR role. Of course, I know you. You're a thorough professional. You're not going to bring that to work. But how about the people who you live with? How about your partner, your close friends, your married mates? Are they the ones who have to bear the brunt of those negative emotions because this promotion that you're expecting hasn't come yet? This episode of the podcast is dedicated to supporting you to be able to understand how to manage your emotions. So let's delve into it. What kind of emotions do you feel most of the time? Do you feel hopeful? Do you feel frustrated? Do you feel anxious? Are you on edge? Do you feel peaceful? Do you feel like you're in charge, in control of how your career is going? How exactly do you feel? The very first thing to do in managing your emotion is being able to name the emotion. What emotion are you feeling when it comes to your career? Especially because right now we're talking about your aspiration to become the head of human resources or to become a much more senior person in human resources, but it hasn't come through. How are you managing that emotion? Are you approaching your work with a sense of, it's not going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen. I've done my best. It seems like it's never going to happen. Or are you going at it with the same level of optimism? I know it can be quite difficult to sustain your optimism year after year, especially when what you're looking for seems to be delaying. However, I would love to share with you some of the things that has worked for me and for some of my clients that I have supported. In the first place, we've said, name your emotion. You need to be able to identify what emotion you're feeling per time. And what can you do to be able to name your emotion? What process can you use to be able to identify that emotion without allowing it to consume you? Journaling. I'm sure you've heard of journaling. Question: do you journal? If yes, how often do you journal? If no, why don't you journal? Do you think journaling can help you? Let's even talk for a few seconds. What is journaling? Everyone's saying journal. So what's journaling? Journaling is you just taking a few minutes out of your day. Potentially at the end of the day is better for you to review the day and for you to be able to just, identify what has happened to you that day. That's it. Simple. That's journaling. Depending on your appetite for journaling, depending on how long you have at your disposal, you can choose to journal for 10 minutes. You can choose to journal for as long as 30 minutes if you have something to write down. For people who are new to journaling, I would say take it slow. Get a nice notepad that might encourage you. Get into the habit of scheduling it into your day so you know at what time of the day your calendar is going to alert you that it's time for you to do your journal for the day. In the beginning, it might feel strange. Stay with it. The idea of you being able to put your thoughts on paper, being able to identify how you feel and potentially why you feel the way you do can go a long way towards you just being able to diffuse emotions that are strong and potent. So that's the very first thing I'm going to advise you. Get into the habit of journaling. Secondly, I want you to start being able to reframe what has happened to you. So I'll give you a typical example. Maybe during the course of the day, you had a conversation with your line manager, who is the current head of human resources, around the particular initiative that you're working on, and you have been emailing him or her, you've been emailing this person for a bit now, just to try and get some feedback or to try and get some concurrence on what you should do, and it seems as if they're stonewalling you. So today, you decided to have a conversation about it. Now, in going to have a conversation about it, you had looked at, obviously, the emails just to be sure that, you're spot on in trying to address this potential issue. And you've looked at some of the questions you've asked, you've done a little bit of a note down, and you're going into this conversation. Hold on. What emotion are you going in there with? Are you going in there to say, you know what, I've been emailing you, I don't understand, you never want to support my initiatives, we're trying to do this thing, it's good for staff, da, 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 da. Is that how you're going into that conversation? I hope not. I really hope not. I know that it can be extremely frustrating when you're emailing someone. I mean, especially someone who you're like, quote unquote, is in HR like you. They should understand why we need to get this thing done. There's no need for you to keep presenting and representing and representing and representing your business case for this initiative. What exactly are they waiting for? It can be frustrating. You can be on edge. I get it. Because I've been there. I get it. But I need you to take some time to think about the outcome you're looking for. What is the outcome you're looking for? Are you looking for a potential outcome where your current head of human resources then tells you, I beg your pardon, will you back down? You can't talk to me in that tone of voice. Is that the outcome you're looking for? I'm not sure that was the outcome you were gunning for. So you have to think of the end and then plan how to achieve the end from the beginning. So let's step back, let's rewind. Let's rewind and try and have that conversation again. What could you have done better? What could you have done better? You could go back to your emails and look at the tone of your emails. Was there some hint of irritation in your tone? If your emails were read by someone else, would they have detected a twinge of disrespect? Because don't forget, you are trying to get the concurrence of your line manager on this initiative. Yes, it's a great initiative, but you need their concurrence. You need them to sort of back it up. So if you look at the emails that you have been sending, the same ones that have gotten stonewalled, is there any hint of disrespect? Is there any hint of irritation? Is there any hint of, I'm getting frustrated, you're not responding to this in there? Have you genuinely tried to find out? Maybe they have a legitimate reason for thinking we need to slow walk this initiative, or probably stop the initiative. Have you tried to have a conversation with them? You know, one of the hardest things to spot is an ego fight in yourself. It's easy for us to spot it in others. I mean, it's easy for you to see it 10 miles away to say, oh, that's an ego conversation right there. But then, are you able to spot it in yourself? You're pushing for this initiative. Are you pushing for this initiative to make yourself look good? So that they can say, oh, she did it, or he did it, or that was him. Is it an initiative that is rightly placed, rightly timed, in the scope, in the larger frame of all of the initiatives that HR is delivering for the business? That is something that I want you to think about. Because I don't want you to get to that position where you're thinking, this person is against me. This person is always trying to slow walk my initiatives. This person is not supporting me. Take yourself out of the picture. The earlier you take yourself out of the picture, the better for you to be able to identify and address all of the challenges, all of the potential challenges that might be in that initiative, and be able to objectively address it. So now I want to give you an assignment. I want you to go back and look at the last couple of initiatives that you have tried to get done. Where was the blocker? How did you handle the blocker? Were you able to manage your emotions properly? Did you allow your emotions to get the better of you? I hope not, that you did not then, call one or two people and started to have this conversation and begin to have some infighting within the HR team. Because that happens. Sad but true. That happens. So, take this assignment. Look at the last couple of initiatives that you have done, like I said. How did you manage your emotions, especially when initiatives look like they weren't being supported? How did you handle that difficult conversation? It's not about you winning. It's about you leveraging this process to develop your own capability. Because remember, yes, you're reporting to the head of human resources today. You're positioning to be in that position tomorrow. And hang on, you could be in that position in another company in another 3 months if you wanted to jump out. But we're trying to get ready. The focus of this series of podcasts is to help you get ready by identifying those things you probably aren't paying attention to right now. So I want you to do the exercise and I want you to tell me how you got on. If in your doing the exercise, you realize that there are things that you could have handled properly, I don't want you to gloss over it. Of course, we're not going to go and reopen the conversation with your head of human resources. So, that last conversation. If you wanted to, yeah, but in the first instance, I want you to be able to unpack it with yourself. Unpack it with yourself and understand what you didn't do well. And let's look at potential things that you could have handled better. So if you responded to that email, was that tone correct? Was the timing right? If you went to have the conversation in person, was that the best way to have the conversation? That is what I would like us to identify and work on. Because guess what? It's going to happen again. It's going to happen again. And when it happens again, I need you to be ready. I need you to be ready with a better way of dealing with that situation. How do you feel about it? I feel excited. I feel excited. I feel excited. In the next episode, we're going to talk about how you can reframe negative situations. But for this episode of this podcast, I am happy. In the HR Growth Network, my objective is to support HR professionals to be able to accelerate their career and be successful as an HR professional. So if you know an HR person that you think is, getting ready for the next level of their growth, trying to get into senior roles, do me a favor and send this podcast to them. They can listen to it either on Spotify or on YouTube. And if you wanted to get in touch with me directly, you can get in touch with me through my website, www.olutoyinwilliams.co.uk. I'll be happy to read from you. Thank you. Until next time when I come your way, do take care.